Hello and welcome everyone. We're happy that we're all together again. In this tutorial, we will talk about the causes that leads to the electrical faults. So fasten your belt and let's get started. The aim of this tutorial is to learn what are the reasons which causes the electrical faults to happen, as we need to learn in some details why the electrical faults are caused. So let's go ahead. First of all, before talking about the electrical faults, we need to know what is the definition of an electrical fault. So the electrical fault is any factor that causes an abnormal change in the value of the voltage or the current. So if the voltage or the current values has been changed in a wrong way or with an abnormal value, this is called an electrical fault. And the two parameters that we are handling now are the voltage and the current. As we said before, at the fault condition, the current increases greatly, and this causes the different equipment and the power system to be damaged. And this is because when the current passing through the equipment or through any conductor in general, this produces some losses in the power due to the current that is passing. So this power losses equals the current squared times the resistance. Here the current is the current that is passing and the resistance is the resistance of the conductor. And usually this power losses is converted to heat, so at the fault condition, the passing current will be very large one that makes the total power losses to be huge. But as the power losses is converted to heat, so this makes a great amount of heat to be produced that may burn the conductor or the equipment. So that's about the fault effect due to the current increase. But on the other hand, when there is a fault that is caused due to the voltage increase, not a current increase, what's happening is that the insulation of the conductors or of the different phases will be broken. And this is because there is a relation between the insulation strength and the voltage. So suppose those are two different phases that are insulated by the air as a dielectric between the two phases. And also suppose we have a fault condition here. So the voltage between the two phases will increase greatly, and as we have a relation saying that the electric charge equals the capacitance times the voltage, so we can consider the capacitance to be the insulation between the two phases, or it's the air insulation. So the air insulation now represents the capacitance or the dielectric strength. And here at that case, the voltage is inversely proportional to the capacitance, but from that relation, the voltage is inversely proportional to the capacitance, which means that when the voltage increases greatly, at the fault condition, the capacitance will decrease. And when the capacitance decreases, this means that the insulation between the two phases will decrease greatly, which means that we have a failure in the insulation between the different phases, so there may be a leakage current that is going from the first phase to the second phase. And for that we can conclude that the current fault produces the equipment damage and the voltage fault produces the break of the insulation. Very good. Now let's see what are those reasons that produces the electrical faults. Here the first reason is the mechanical or the electrical stresses. So if the electrical element is applied to an electrical stress, like an increase in the value of the current, this may produce an electrical fault as we said, and also those kinds of stresses may be some mechanical stresses, not electrical stresses only. So the mechanical stresses may produce some mechanical damage of the electrical equipments. And an example of that, if we have a load break switch that is applied to the mechanical shocks or stresses, it may be damaged, and this means that the circuit will be open, and when the circuit is open, this is a fault case or a fault condition. And also a popular reason of the fault condition is the obsolescence of equipment. And this means when the equipment age increases and it lasts a long age of working, so the equipment efficiency will decrease or it will have a larger probability to be damaged or to have some faults during its operation, so it may stop or it may have any failure. And also the third reason that causes the electrical faults is the environmental effects like the thunder or the wind, as we said before. So the thunder may make the different phases to be connected to each other as it breaks the insulation of the air between the phases. And also the wind may produce some mechanical damages of the electrical towers, which produces the faults, as the towers may be falling down and the phases may be touching each other, or they may touch the ground. So at that condition, there is a produced case of the short circuit condition between the different phases or between the phases and the ground. More than great. So that's about this tutorial, at which we have discussed the reasons or some reasons of the electrical faults, and on the next tutorial we will continue talking about them. Hope that's clear right now. Thank you for watching and see you next tutorials.